How do we know if the cardiovascular workout you've been doing for the last 6 months is actually working? Give me a couple minutes and I'll explain how you can evaluate it. Hi, I'm Coach Robb, and at the time of this recording, I've been a physiologist for 40 years. And when it comes to increasing somebody's speed, it's amazing to me how everybody thinks that the only way you can generate speed is by doing speed work. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but here's the crazy part about it. When it comes to improving top-end speed, the number one physical limiter will always be aerobic capacity. A lot of people erroneously think that it's the accumulation of lactic acid, and yes, that does play a significant role in the process, but when it comes to the number one physical limiter, providing enough aerobic energy is going to be the biggest physical limiter. When you recognize that aerobic capacity is the number one limiter when it comes to human performance, it's amazing to me how little people do in the category of aerobic training. As I mentioned, a lot of people fall into the ideology that the only way to increase your sprint speed is to constantly do sprints. And it's the exact opposite. If we were to go into the world of motors, I can take an oversized piston, but if I can't get enough air-fuel mixture into it, the power of that piston will never manifest itself. You can go the opposite as well. You could take a small piston and put an oversized carburetor and try to push a ton of air-fuel mixture in there. It isn't going to make the piston produce more power just because you're giving it more air-fuel mixture. This is why there's such a finite balance between aerobic engine and muscular strength. Strength is the size of your piston. Your carburetor is the size of your aerobic engine. If we come back to the idea that you've been putting in 6 months of aerobic work, and the reason why I focus on 6 months is that's the amount of time it takes for the human body to pivot. Any workout you do today, you will not reap the benefits of it for 6 months from today. That's just a physiological fact. But how do we validate that the cardio work that you've put in so far is actually resulting in an elevated aerobic capacity? I'm a big fan of the Garmin heart rate monitor, and if you've invested in yourself and you've got a Garmin, I would encourage you to go and look at your resting heart rate, and I want you to change the display from single day to 7 days to 4 weeks. And this is one of the best and simplest indicators that you can look at as to whether or not your aerobic engine is actually improving. When you go to the Garmin, you're able to compare what was your resting heart rate average for the last week compared to 4 weeks ago, compared to 12 weeks ago, even a year ago. It's a very simple thing that you can look at on the display. When you change the Garmin dashboard to 4 weeks, the bottom left-hand number shows you what the average is for that 4-week period of time. So when we get into the race season and maybe you're racing every other weekend, you might see that that resting heart rate average is going up. That's because of the stress of racing and traveling and recovering. But when we're looking at pre-season, it's very important that you understand you should be lifting very heavy to build muscular strength, size of your piston, and then we're working on building an aerobic engine training in heart rate zone 2 and below. There's a multitude of benefits that come with training in heart rate zone 2, particularly in pre-season. You're leveraging stored body fat for fuel, so your VO2 max number is going to go up automatically. You're decreasing your percentage of body fat, so it's easier to wick away heat. And when it comes time to doing your speed work, you've got this huge aerobic engine that can feed the demands of the muscle, which allows you to go faster and maintain it for a longer period of time. When you look at your resting heart rate number, I want you to think about the heart pumping, just like your bicep. When you lift a bicep curl, think about your arm is lifting and essentially offsetting the amount of load that you've got in your hand. Well, if we get into a clinical environment, the volume of blood, the millimoles of blood that are pumping out of your heart with each beat of the heart, you're going to be able to put out more volume per beat. And this is why your resting heart rate becomes such an incredible variable for you to take a look at. Because as the resting heart rate is going down, the volume of blood is going up. When you're sitting at rest, the demands of oxygen are pretty consistent. When you're able to produce the same amount of volume of blood at a lower heart rate, it shows you that your cardiac output, your muscular heart strength, is going up. Why does this become very, very important later in the season? Because it makes it easier for you to meet the demands of the muscle at race speeds. When you complement that with muscular strength, i.e. muscular endurance, You're able to go faster for a longer period of time without getting tired. Another element that's beyond the scope of this video is when you train aerobically, you build we call them the freeways, the blood vessels to get metabolic waste out of the muscles. So you have oxygen-rich, nutrient-rich blood going in, being utilized by the muscles, and then you have to have an efficient system to get rid of the metabolic waste. When you have that two-way street, you're going to be amazed at how easy it is to go fast. It's going to be laborious, of course. You're going fast, high heart rate, you're producing a lot of internal heat, but you're making it easier on yourself because you've built the aerobic engine first. I hope this video has made sense. I love putting these together. All of these videos are generated from the emails that you're sending in, and the number of questions that are coming in continue to exponentially grow. As I always say, I'm super thankful for it, and will continue to be answering your questions every day here on YouTube. If you happen to have a question, please send it to me. contact@coachrob.com. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. As I said, we put out a new video every day here on YouTube, and I want to make sure that I'm answering all of your questions. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoy the next two.